Welcome to Chapter 4, Intersections. In this chapter, we're looking at how our many social identities overlap and how those intersections shape privilege, power, and experience. Social identities are the categories we use to describe who we are and where we belong, things like gender, race, class, sexuality, ability, and age. These identities are socially constructed, meaning society defines and maintains them. We may place ourselves into these categories or be placed there by others. And with each of these identities comes a certain level of privilege or lack of it. Privilege means unearned social or economic advantages based on where we sit in the social hierarchy. Understanding privilege isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. The idea of intersectionality comes from Black feminist scholars, especially Kimberly Crenshaw. It reminds us that we don't experience gender, race, class, or sexuality separately. They work together, creating unique advantages or barriers in each person's life. Because of these intersections, we all develop different gender strategies, our own ways of doing gender that make sense within our social positions. What feels authentic or safe for one person might not be possible for another. Our strategies reflect not just who we are, but where we are positioned in society. Let's talk about race. Race isn't biological. It's a socially meaningful set of distinctions based on superficial and imagined biological differences. And racism refers to the social systems and arrangements that advantage white people over others. Different racial and ethnic groups experience gender in unique ways. For example, Black Americans have historically faced both racial and gendered stereotypes that shape how their identities are read. East Asian and Southeast Asian Americans often face stereotypes about appearance, behavior, and sexuality that affect how their gender is perceived. White Americans are often treated as the default, an unmarked category. And that's part of how privilege works. When someone's identity doesn't fit that default, society often engages in marking, labeling them as an exception or an outsider. Now let's look at sexuality and its relationship to gender. Many cultures operate under heteronormativity, the assumption that everyone is heterosexual. People who don't fit that assumption fall into what we call sexual minorities, including those who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, or asexual. Heterosexism refers to bias, both personal and institutional, against sexual minorities. A related idea is compulsory heterosexuality, the rule that men should only be attracted to women and women only to men. And even within LGBTQ plus spaces, there's homonormativity, the idea that queer people should follow most traditional gender and lifestyle norms, except for who they love. Our nationality and immigration status also shape how we experience gender and privilege. People who migrate often find that gender rules change across borders, and what's considered normal in one place might not be accepted in another. Class matters too. Classism is prejudice or discrimination against people of lower socioeconomic status. Economic privilege affects where we live, what we learn, the jobs we can get, and even how others perceive our intelligence or worth. When it comes to ability, we see similar patterns. Ableism refers to individual and institutional biases that disadvantage people with disabilities or neurodivergent bodies. Society often treats able bodied people as the standard, rather than designing systems that include everyone. Finally, let's talk about age and attractiveness. Ageism is the institutional preference for the young, along with the cultural idea that aging means losing social value. Attractiveness, too, can function as a form of social privilege, often shaped by race, gender, and class expectations. So, when we talk about intersectionality, we're really talking about how all these factors race, class, gender, sexuality, ability, age, and nationality weave together to create each person's unique experience. Understanding these intersections helps us see people more clearly, build empathy, and challenge inequality wherever we find it.